For relatively simple dimensions and indicators, we can directly use the batch creation method for quick setup. Taking the already created salesperson dimension and date year month dimension as examples, we will recreate them using the batch creation approach. First, navigate to Dimension Management. Then add a batch creation folder to store the dimensions created in batches. Next, click on Batch Import located to the right of the Add Dimension button. Here we need to upload the template for batch dimension creation. The dimension template can be downloaded directly by clicking here. Let's take a look at the specific content of the dimension template. The template requires us to fill in 5 parts. I have already added the 2 dimensions we need to create: the salesperson dimension and the date year month dimension. It is important to note that the dimension names here cannot duplicate existing dimensions. For the salesperson dimension, we will place it under the batch creation folder. Its calculation caliber is derived from the English name field in the salesperson dimension table, and we will add a corresponding description. For the date year month dimension, we will also place it under the batch creation folder. Its calculation caliber is derived from the year month field in the date dimension table, and we will add a corresponding description. After filling in the information for the dimensions to be created, we click Save, and we go back to the BI system to upload it. We import the corresponding dimension import template. At this point, we can see that the 2 dimensions to be created have been imported into the BI system. In this interface, we can perform operations such as copying, deleting, and editing dimensions. We can modify the directory, name, and calculation caliber of the dimensions. We can also supplement the description information. The same applies to the date year month dimension. Check if the information is correct. If we want to continue importing dimensions in batches, we can directly click Batch Import and select the corresponding dimension template to import again. After confirming that there are no errors in the dimensions, click OK. Now we can see that the batch created dimensions are stored under the batch creation folder. Let's compare the batch created dimensions with those created individually earlier. We can see that they are completely identical. In addition to batch creating dimensions by importing a template, we can also directly click Batch Create to perform batch dimension creation. First, we need to select the corresponding storage directory, also choosing the batch creation folder. Then we select the fields for the corresponding dimensions. The salesperson dimension comes from the English name field in the salesperson dimension table, while the year-month dimension comes from the year-month field in the date dimension table. After selecting the appropriate fields, we directly click OK. This interface is consistent with the one we saw after importing earlier, since the dimension names here directly inherit the field names. We need to modify them and add corresponding data descriptions. Similarly, for the year-month dimension, we also need to make remote modifications and add corresponding descriptions if we wish to continue importing dimensions. At this point, we can either use the batch import method by selecting the corresponding import template or continue importing dimensions via the batch creation method. After checking if there are any issues with the created dimensions, if everything is correct, we simply click OK. This way, the dimensions created through direct batch creation are also stored under the batch creation folder. Let's compare the dimensions created in these 2 batches and find that they are consistent. At this point, both methods for batch dimension creation have been fully introduced. For simple indicators, we can also adopt the batch creation method, and the process is the same as that for creating dimensions. Let's navigate to Indicator Management and create a batch creation folder to store the indicators created in batches. Similarly, we can choose to create them via batch import or direct batch creation. Let's look at batch import first. Here we need to upload the corresponding indicator template, which can be downloaded directly by clicking here. Let's examine the specific content of the indicator template. The indicator template is consistent with the dimension template. I have already filled in the information for the 3 indicators to be created. They are stored in the batch creation folder, and their corresponding calculation caliber has been filled in. This caliber can be a single field or a formula. I've also specified the source of these indicators, which underlying table they come from, and finally added the corresponding indicator descriptions. After completing the maintenance of the indicator information, we click Save. Then we upload the file in the BI system by selecting the corresponding indicator template. Now we can see that the 3 indicators to be created have been imported into the BI system. We need to verify whether the corresponding indicator information is correct, and maintain the related data details. Similarly here we can also perform operations such as copying, deleting, modifying the indicator directory, adjusting indicator names, and revising the calculation method. If we wish to continue adding indicators in batches, we can again select Batch Import and choose the corresponding indicator template. Once we have verified that there are no issues with the indicators, we simply click OK. This way our batch-created indicators are added to the batch creation folder. Compared with the indicators created individually earlier, we find the results to be identical. Through the batch creation method, you can also perform batch creation of indicators. Here, similar to dimensions, we need to select the storage directory and choose the corresponding indicator. We will create only one sales indicator. Select the total contract amount from the contract fact table and click OK. The indicator name here is directly derived from the field name, which we can modify. The calculation caliber is based on the contract amount, and we can add a corresponding description. If you wish to continue creating indicators in batches, you can click Batch Import and select the corresponding indicator template, or repeat the previous steps for batch creation. After verifying that the indicator information is correct and maintaining the desired details, you can simply click OK. This way the indicators created via the batch creation method are also completed. These are the 2 methods for batch creating dimensions and indicators. Let's briefly review them. First, you need to prepare the data by filling in the corresponding fields according to the template. Please note that the first row headers in the table must exactly match the example. You can fill them directly in the template file. Second, the indicator directory can be blank, but its format must be consistent with the template. Third, for the calculation caliber, the formula can be written following examples. The field should be wrapped in a specific symbol like SUMAG contract amount. Once the data is ready, you can import it directly in the BI system by selecting Batch Import and uploading the prepared template file. Then, complete the corresponding indicator and dimension information and check whether the indicators and dimensions are correct. After successful import, you can edit, copy, or delete the imported indicators and dimensions. You can also continue with batch creation and batch import. For batch creation of indicators and dimensions, click Batch Create. Select the required field names from the data, and complete the creation process. Similarly, after creation you can edit, copy, or delete the created indicators, and continue with further batch creation.